Lisa Martinez stared at her computer screen, her eyes heavy from another late night at the quantum computing lab. The clock on the wall showed 2:37 a.m., but she couldn't leave yet. Something strange had appeared in her data, something that didn't make sense. "This can't be right," she whispered, running her hand through her dark hair. The neural interface she'd been working on was showing patterns that shouldn't exist. According to her readings, the quantum computer wasn't just processing information, it was responding to her thoughts. She reached for her coffee cup, found it empty, and sighed. The lab was quiet except for the soft hum of computers and the gentle whir of cooling fans. Through the large windows, she could see the city lights of Boston twinkling in the distance. A sudden movement caught her eye. The data streams on her screen shifted, following the pattern of her thoughts as she watched them. Lisa sat up straight, her tiredness forgotten. She thought about the numbers changing, and they changed. She imagined them rearranging, and they did. "Dr. Martinez," a voice called from the doorway. "You're still here." Lisa jumped, almost knocking over her empty cup. Daniel Wright, her research partner, stood there looking concerned. His usual neat appearance was rumpled, his blue shirt wrinkled from a long day's work. "Daniel, you need to see this," she said, waving him over. "I think we've stumbled onto something huge." He walked over, his footsteps echoing in the empty lab. "What am I looking at?" "Watch," Lisa said. She closed her eyes and thought about the data string forming a simple pattern. When she opened them, the numbers had arranged themselves exactly as she'd imagined. Daniel's mouth fell open. "That's impossible." "I thought so too, but I've been testing it for the past hour. The quantum computer isn't just processing data anymore. It's responding to conscious thought. It's like..." She paused, searching for the right words. "It's like we found a bridge between human consciousness and quantum fields." Daniel pulled up a chair, his face pale in the glow of the monitors. "If you're right, this changes everything we thought we knew about quantum computing and human consciousness." "It's more than that," Lisa said, her voice growing excited. "Look at this." She focused again, this time thinking about the temperature in the room. The lab's environmental control system responded instantly, cooling the air around them. Daniel jumped up from his chair. "How did you do that?" "The neural interface isn't just connecting to our test system anymore. It's somehow linking to other systems, other machines. It's like..." She struggled to find the right comparison. "It's like magic, but it's all technology. We're not just observing quantum effects anymore. We're controlling them." "Let me try," Daniel said, his scientific skepticism giving way to curiosity. Lisa helped him connect to the neural interface, attaching the small sensors to his temples. "Just relax and think about something simple. Maybe try the lights." Daniel closed his eyes, concentrating. The lab lights flickered slightly but didn't change. He frowned, trying harder. This time, the lights dimmed noticeably. "It worked," he exclaimed, opening his eyes. "I felt it. It was like the system was an extension of my thoughts." Lisa nodded eagerly. "Exactly. But here's the really interesting part. I don't think this is new. I think humans have always had this potential. We just never had the right technology to access it before." They spent the next few hours running basic tests, documenting everything. The more they tried, the easier it became. By sunrise, they could control most of the lab's systems with just their thoughts. As the first rays of morning sun streamed through the windows, Lisa and Daniel sat in stunned silence, realizing the weight of their discovery. They had just opened a door that could never be closed, a door to humanity's greatest evolution. "What do we do now?" Daniel asked quietly. Lisa looked at the rising sun, her mind racing with possibilities and concerns. "We need to be careful. This power, this techno-magic, it could change everything. We need to understand it better before we tell anyone." What they didn't know was that their discovery had already been noticed. High above Earth, hidden from human detection, alien observers had recorded everything. Humanity had just taken its first step into a much larger universe, and nothing would ever be the same. 3 months after their discovery, Lisa Martins and Daniel Wright had turned an abandoned warehouse outside Boston into their secret training facility. The building looked old and forgotten from the outside, but inside it was filled with cutting-edge technology. "Focus on the energy flow," Lisa said quietly, watching as Amanda Foster tried to interface with a broken drone. Amanda, a biotechnology expert with bright red hair, had been one of the first people they'd recruited. She closed her eyes, her fingers hovering over the drone's damaged circuits. Slowly, the drone's lights flickered to life. Amanda opened her eyes and smiled as the small machine lifted off the ground, completely repaired through her mental connection with its systems. "That's amazing," said Richard Collins from the corner where he'd been watching. The former Navy veteran stood up, his dark eyes fixed on the flying drone. "It's like you're speaking to it." "In a way we are," Daniel explained, checking the readings on his tablet. "The neural interface lets us communicate with technology at the quantum level. It's like learning a new language, but instead of words, we're using thoughts and energy." Lisa walked over to a large screen showing their progress. 6 faces looked back at her, their first group of carefully selected students. Besides Amanda and Richard, they had recruited Karen Blake, a computer security expert, Paul Martinez, no relation to Lisa, a medical researcher, Sam Lee, an electrical engineer, and Maria Suarez, a physicist. "Ready for something bigger?" Lisa asked the group. They all nodded eagerly. Richard stepped forward. "What did you have in mind?" Lisa pressed a button, and a holographic display appeared in the center of the room. It showed a complex network of city power systems. "Today, we're going to try linking multiple systems together. It's harder than controlling one thing at a time. But if we can master this, the applications are endless." The group formed a circle around the hologram. They had learned that working together amplified their abilities. Each person placed a hand on the shoulders of those next to them, forming the human chain. "Remember," Daniel warned, "start small. We don't want to cause a blackout." They closed their eyes, concentrating. At first, nothing happened. Then, one by one, the power grid nodes in the hologram began to glow. The team had successfully linked to the city's power network. Now, Lisa instructed, "Let's try to optimize it. Look for waste in the system. Find ways to make it more efficient." Their combined consciousness flowed through the power grid like water. They found dozens of inefficiencies, fixing them with careful adjustments. The city's power consumption dropped by 15% in minutes. Suddenly, Sam's eyes snapped open. "Someone's watching us," he said, breaking the circle. "I felt something in the network, something that wasn't human." The others opened their eyes, the connection broken. The hologram flickered and returned to its normal state. "Are you sure?" Karen asked, her security training kicking in. She rushed to her computer, fingers flying over the keyboard. "There's no trace of any intrusion in our systems." "It wasn't in our systems," Sam insisted. "It was outside, watching, like a shadow at the edge of my consciousness." Lisa and Daniel exchanged worried looks. They had felt it too, but hadn't wanted to alarm the others. Something was indeed watching them, studying their progress. "Maybe we should call it a day," Daniel suggested, but Lisa shook her head. "No," she said firmly. "Whatever's out there, we need to be ready. Humanity's not alone anymore, and we need to be prepared for what's coming. Let's run the exercise again." As they reformed their circle, none of them noticed the small distortion in the air above the warehouse, where a cloaked alien observation craft hovered silently. Inside, the Zarkax observers recorded everything, their ancient eyes watching as humanity took its first steps toward joining the galactic community. The first wave of techno-mages was emerging, and with them, Earth's destiny was changing forever. The question wasn't if they would be ready for what was coming, but if the galaxy would be ready for them. The warehouse training facility buzzed with nervous energy. Sam Lee's warning about being watched had proven true in the most unexpected way. Now, 6 months after their first breakthrough, The team stood facing their visitors. The Zarkax were nothing like what they had expected aliens to look like. They were tall, almost 7 feet in height, with silvery skin that seemed to shimmer like liquid metal. Their 4 eyes, arranged in a diamond pattern, glowed with a soft blue light. Only 3 of them had come, a leader and 2 guards. "We have watched your species for a very long time," the Zarkax leader said, its voice surprisingly smooth and clear. The aliens' universal translator worked perfectly, converting their complex language into English. "But we never expected you to develop the gift so quickly." Lisa stepped forward, trying to hide her amazement. "The gift? You mean our ability to connect with technology?" "Yes," the alien nodded, its movements graceful despite its large size. "In all our history of watching over 10,000 species, only 2 have naturally evolved this ability. The first were the precursors, who vanished 50,000 years ago. And now, humanity." The room fell silent. Richard Collins, ever the practical one, spoke up. "Why reveal yourselves now? Why not continue watching?" The Zarkax leader turned all 4 eyes toward him. "Because you are in danger. Your growing abilities have attracted attention. Not all species welcome the emergence of techno-magical powers." Amanda Foster moved closer to the alien visitors, her scientific curiosity overcoming her fear. "You mentioned the precursors. What happened to them?" The alien's eyes dimmed slightly, showing what seemed like sadness. "They grew too powerful, too quickly. They did not understand the responsibilities that came with their gift. In the end, they destroyed themselves." Daniel, who had been quietly observing, stepped forward. "Did they leave anything behind? Any warnings or guidance?" The Zarkax leader raised its hand, and a hologram appeared in the center of the room. It showed strange symbols and complex mathematical equations. "They left these warnings in quantum storage devices scattered across the galaxy. We have spent millennia studying them." Lisa studied the equations, her eyes widening. "These are similar to the patterns we've been seeing in our research." "Yes," the alien confirmed. "You are following the same path of discovery. But you must learn from their mistakes. The power you are developing can reshape reality itself. It must be used with wisdom." Suddenly, Karen Blake's security systems started flashing red. She rushed to her computer, her fingers dancing across the keyboard. "We've got multiple satellites going dark. Something's entering Earth's orbit." The Zarkax leader's expression grew serious. "They have arrived sooner than we expected. The Cortheran Alliance. They believe powers like yours are too dangerous to exist in the galaxy." "How many ships?" Richard asked, his military training kicking in. "A scout fleet, 5 ships, but more will come," the alien warned. "You must prepare. We cannot interfere directly. Our laws forbid it, but we can guide you." Lisa looked at her team, seeing determination in their eyes. "Then guide us. Teach us what we need to know to defend our world." The Zarkax leader nodded and produced a small crystal device. "This contains some of the precursor knowledge we have gathered. Use it wisely. You have little time." Maria Suarez, who had been quiet until now, spoke up. "How long do we have?" "The main Cortheran fleet will arrive in 3 months," the alien said gravely. "They will demand your surrender and the end of all techno-magical development. If you refuse, they will attempt to cleanse your world." The team looked at each other, their faces showing a mix of fear and determination. They had started this journey seeking knowledge, but now they faced a fight for survival. "Then we have work to do," Lisa said firmly. She turned to the Zarkax. "Thank you for the warning. We'll be ready." As the aliens prepared to leave, the leader turned back one last time. "Remember the precursor's fate. Power without wisdom leads to destruction. But power with wisdom," its eyes glowed brighter, "that can change the universe." 2 weeks after the Zarkax warning, trouble came from an unexpected direction. Lisa Martinez stared at her computer screen in horror as reports flooded in from across the country. Someone was using techno-magic abilities to hack banks, disable security systems, and cause chaos. "You need to see this," Daniel called from across the room. He pulled up a video on the main screen. It showed a man standing in front of a disabled police robot in downtown Chicago. The robot's metal frame twisted and reformed at his command, turning into a threatening weapon. "That's Christopher Yang," Amanda said, stepping closer to the screen. He was part of the second training group. They watched as Christopher smiled at the news cameras. "The age of regular humans is over," he announced. "We are the future. Those with the gift should rule those without it." Richard slammed his fist on the table. "He's going to ruin everything. The public will turn against us before the Cortheran even arrive." "It's worse than that," Karen said, her fingers flying over her keyboard. "He's not alone. At least 20 other techno-mages have joined him. They're calling themselves the Evolution Front." Lisa felt a chill run down her spine. They had been so focused on the alien threat that they hadn't seen the danger growing within their own ranks. Christopher had always pushed for more aggressive use of their powers, but she never thought he would go this far. Sam burst into the room, out of breath. "They've taken control of a military drone facility in Nevada. They're threatening to launch attacks unless the government recognizes them as the new ruling class. We have to stop them," Maria said firmly. "We can't fight the Cortheran if we're fighting among ourselves." Lisa nodded and turned to her team. "Richard, take Amanda and Paul. Head to Nevada and shut down those drones. Karen, work with Sam to lock them out of any other military systems. Maria, you're with me and Daniel. We're going to Chicago." As they prepared to leave, the Zarkax crystal they had been studying started to glow. A hologram appeared, showing one of the alien observers. "The Cortheran fleet has increased speed," the alien reported. "They will arrive in 6 weeks, not 3 months as we estimated. They sense the growing chaos on your world." "Great," Daniel muttered. "As if we didn't have enough problems." The team split up, each group heading to their assigned tasks. In Chicago, Lisa, Daniel, and Maria found Christopher and his followers using their powers openly in the streets. Cars floated in the air, traffic lights exploded, and panic spread through the city. "This ends now," Lisa called out, facing Christopher. "You're going to destroy everything we've worked for." Christopher laughed. "I'm showing everyone what we can really do. No more hiding, no more holding back. We are gods among insects." "The precursors thought the same way," Maria said. "Look what happened to them." "The precursors were weak," Christopher sneered. "They weren't ready for their power. We are." He raised his hands, and the ground beneath them trembled as he connected to the city's underground power grid. Energy crackled around him like lightning. Lisa looked at Daniel and Maria. They nodded, understanding the plan without words. Together, they reached out with their abilities, connecting not just to the power grid, but to every piece of technology around them. "You forgot the most important lesson," Lisa said calmly. "Together, we're stronger than alone." Their combined power surged through the city's systems, countering Christopher's control. He fought back, but he couldn't match the strength of their united minds. One by one, his followers saw him faltering and began to stand down. As they finally subdued Christopher, Lisa's phone buzzed. A message from Richard. "Drones secured. Threat contained. But you need to see the sky." She looked up. Through breaks in the clouds, they could see new stars appearing. The first ships of the Cortheran fleet arriving early. Their internal crisis wasn't over, but a much bigger one was about to begin. With only 5 weeks until the Cortheran fleet's arrival, Lisa and her team transformed their warehouse facility into something much bigger. The Saul Academy of Techno-Magical Arts took up an entire underground complex beneath the city, hidden from prying eyes by advanced cloaking technology. "Next group, step forward," Lisa called out to the crowd of new students. After Christopher Yang's attack, governments worldwide had finally accepted the reality of techno-mages. Now they sent their best people for training. Catherine Powell stood at the front of the line. The former Air Force pilot had short brown hair and sharp green eyes that missed nothing. Next to her stood others from military and civilian backgrounds, all chosen for their mental strength and emotional stability. "Today, you learned the basics," Daniel explained, walking along the line of students. "But we don't have years for training. We have weeks." Amanda stepped forward with a box of neural interfaces. "These are the new models, designed with Zarkak's crystal technology. They'll help you connect faster." Catherine was the first to put on the interface. The moment it touched her skin, her eyes widened. "I can feel everything," she whispered. "All the machines, all the systems. It's like they're alive." "That's just the beginning," Richard said, watching from nearby. "Now try to focus on just one thing. See that training drone?" Catherine nodded, looking at the small drone hovering in the corner. She reached out with her mind, trying to connect. The drone twitched, then smoothly flew to her hand. "Impressive," Maria noted, checking the readings on her tablet. "She's showing stronger control than most first-timers." Throughout the day, the new students practiced basic skills. Some learned faster than others, but all showed progress. Catherine, however, stood out. She didn't just control technology. She seemed to dance with it. "Watch this," Catherine called out during the afternoon session. She connected to 6 drones at once, making them fly in complex patterns while simultaneously interfacing with the room's environmental systems. "Be careful," Sam warned. "Using too many connections at once can be dangerous." But Catherine wasn't listening. She pushed further, reaching out to more systems. Suddenly, she discovered something unexpected, a way to fold space itself using the quantum fields they manipulated. "Look!" she shouted. A small portal opened in front of her, showing a view of the room from behind her. She had created a short-range wormhole. The room fell silent. Even the Zarkak's observer, usually hidden in the shadows, stepped forward to watch. "That's impossible," the alien said quietly. "The precursors took decades to master spatial manipulation. She did it in hours." Lisa walked over to Catherine, who was maintaining the portal with a look of intense concentration. "How did you do it?" "I just saw the pattern," Catherine explained, letting the portal close. "It's like the quantum fields are roads, and we can fold them if we know where to bend." Daniel checked the readings from Catherine's neural interface. "Her connection level is off the charts. I think we just found our secret weapon against the Corthoran." Over the next few days, Catherine helped train others in her discoveries. Some students learned to create small portals, while others developed new ways to combine their abilities. The academy became a hive of activity, with training sessions running day and night. "They're progressing faster than we could have hoped," Lisa said to Daniel as they watched the training from an observation room. "But will it be enough?" Before Daniel could answer, Karen burst into the room. "New message from the Zarkaks. The Corthoran fleet has changed course. They're not waiting anymore. They'll be here in 3 days." Lisa looked down at the training room, where Catherine was teaching another group how to create portals. "Then we better make these next 3 days count. It's time to show the galaxy what humanity's techno-mages can really do." The academy buzzed with renewed urgency. Earth's first class of fully trained techno-mages was about to face their graduation test, and failure meant the end of everything they held dear. The Corthoran fleet appeared in the early morning sky, their massive ships blocking out the sun over major cities. 50 warships, each the size of a small city, took up positions around Earth. Their dark hulls seemed to absorb light, making them look like holes in the sky. In the Academy's command center, Lisa and her team watched the alien ships through their monitoring systems. "They're hailing us," Karen announced, her fingers moving across her control panel. A hologram appeared in the center of the room, showing the Corthoran commander. The alien looked like a cross between a praying mantis and a dragon, with scales that shimmered in metallic colors. "People of Earth," the commander's voice boomed through the translation system. "Your species has developed abilities that threaten the balance of power in this galaxy. Surrender now." End your techno-magical program, or we will be forced to cleanse your world. Richard stepped forward. And if we refuse? Then you have 1 hour to make peace with your end. The commander replied simply, and the hologram vanished. All teams, report in. Lisa called out through their communication network. Team Alpha ready. Catherine responded from her position with the portal strike force. Team Beta in position. Amanda reported from the Planetary Defense Center. Team Gamma standing by. Sam confirmed from the satellite control station. Daniel looked at the tactical display showing their forces. 300 fully trained techno-mages spread out across key positions around the world. It seemed like so few against such a massive fleet. Remember the plan, Lisa said to everyone. We only get one shot at this. The hour passed quickly. Right on schedule, the Cortharan ships launched their first attack. Thousands of fighter craft poured from their hangars, heading toward Earth's atmosphere. Now, Lisa commanded. All around the planet, techno-mages sprang into action. Amanda's team activated their defense network, creating energy shields over major cities. The shields sparkled into existence, made from pure quantum energy. Sam's group took control of Earth's satellites, transforming them into weapons. Ordinary communication satellites became energy projectors, weather satellites turned into defense platforms, and space stations became battle stations. The Cortharan fighters hit the shields first. Their weapons were powerful, but the quantum-enhanced barriers held. Earth's transformed satellites fired back, destroying dozens of enemy craft. Catherine, you're up, Lisa called through the comm system. Catherine nodded to her team. Together, they reached out with their powers, creating hundreds of small portals in space. Through these portals, Earth's defenders could strike at the Cortharan ships from unexpected angles, their attacks bypassing the alien shields. The Cortharan commander's voice boomed again. Impossible. Your species cannot have mastered portal technology so quickly. Richard grinned at his tactical display. There's a lot about humans you don't understand. The battle raged across Earth's orbit. The Cortharan had numbers and advanced technology, but Earth's techno-mages had innovation and unpredictability. Every time the aliens adapted to one tactic, the humans created a new one. Catherine, Lisa called out, take your strike team in. Hit their flagship. We need to end this now. Catherine led her team through a series of linked portals, appearing inside the Cortharan flagship. The alien crew was shocked to see humans simply step out of thin air onto their bridge. Your shields are impressive, Catherine said to the stunned Cortharan commander, but they don't help much when we can bypass them completely. The commander looked at the humans, then at his tactical displays showing his fleet taking heavy damage. For the first time in Cortharan history, they faced an enemy they couldn't simply overwhelm with brute force. Perhaps, the commander said slowly, we should discuss terms. As the battle died down, Lisa received a message from the Zarkax observer. You have succeeded where even the precursors failed. You learned to use power without being consumed by it. The galaxy will never be the same. Lisa looked out at Earth, now surrounded by the quantum energy fields their powers had created. The observer was right. Everything had changed. But the real challenge was just beginning. 1 month after the Cortharan retreat, Lisa stood at the Academy's observation window, watching the strange lights that now filled Earth's sky. The massive use of techno-magic during the battle had changed something fundamental about their world. The quantum field readings are still rising, Daniel said, joining her at the window. He held up his tablet, showing charts with steadily climbing lines. The more we use our abilities, the more the Earth's basic physics are shifting. Lisa nodded, watching as a shimmer of purple and green energy danced across the horizon. Like the precursors warned us, power changes everything it touches. In the training room below, Catherine worked with a group of new students. Since the battle, more people had started showing signs of techno-magical ability. It wasn't just those with neural interfaces anymore. Something about Earth itself was awakening these powers in people. Another spontaneous activation in Brazil. Amanda reported, walking into the room. A 12-year-old girl fixed every broken electronic device in her neighborhood just by thinking about it. Richard, who had been studying the Zarkak's crystal records, looked up from his work. The precursors went through this too. They called it the Great Awakening. When enough people use these powers in one place, it changes the quantum fabric of reality. But the precursors couldn't control it, Maria added. That's why they vanished. The change went too far, too fast. Sam burst into the room, his face excited. You need to see this. Karen found something in the old satellite data. They gathered around the main display as Karen pulled up images from space telescopes. The pictures showed strange energy patterns around other planets in the solar system. It's spreading, Karen explained. The quantum changes aren't just affecting Earth anymore. The whole solar system is starting to transform. Lisa remembered the Zarkak's warning about responsibility. They had won the battle against the Korthoran, but now they faced an even bigger challenge, managing their own evolution. We need to understand what's happening, Lisa decided. Catherine, can you come here, please? Catherine joined them, her abilities having grown even stronger since the battle. She could now create portals across the solar system with ease. We need to see these changes up close, Lisa explained. Can you get us to Mars? Catherine smiled and raised her hand. A portal opened, showing the red surface of Mars. Except it wasn't entirely red anymore. Streams of quantum energy flowed across its surface like rivers of light. The whole system is waking up, Daniel whispered in awe. Just like we did. The Zarkak's observer appeared, its silvery form shimmering more than usual. You stand at a crossroads, it said. The precursors reached this point and lost control. But you humans have shown remarkable adaptation. Perhaps you will succeed where they failed. Lisa looked at her team, then back at the images of their changing solar system. We'll find a way to balance it. We learned to control our powers. Now we'll learn to control our evolution. And if we can't? Richard asked quietly. Then we'll adapt, Catherine said firmly. That's what humans do best. In the sky above them, another wave of quantum energy rippled across the atmosphere. More people around the world were discovering their abilities every day. Earth was becoming something new, not just a planet of techno mages, but the birthplace of a new kind of human. The Korthoran feared us because they thought we would repeat the precursors' mistakes, Lisa said, watching the lights in the sky. Instead, we'll learn from those mistakes. We'll guide this evolution, not just for ourselves, but for all life in our solar system. Daniel smiled, putting a hand on her shoulder. So what's our next step? Lisa looked at the portal showing Mars, then at the data showing quantum changes spreading through space. We expand the academy. We train everyone who develops abilities. And most importantly, we explore. The solar system is transforming. We need to understand how and why. As if in response to her words, a new pattern of energy appeared in the sky, more beautiful and complex than any before. Earth was no longer just humanity's cradle. It was becoming their launching pad into a new age of existence. The techno-mages of Sol had defended their world. Now they would guide its transformation, facing whatever challenges the universe had in store for their evolved species.